Hello my friends and welcome to this episode of Denise Beauty Corner, and in today's video I am going to show you the most crazy dupe, and you can save so much money on this. So we're going to cover everything: swatches, I'm going to cover the application, I'm going to cover everything in today's video. So what I'm having for today's video is Urban Decay Born to Run palette. This palette is absolutely amazing. I love this palette. I have borrowed it from my sister, but I remember I was the one that was recommending this palette to her. So this is how the palette is looking. It's so beautiful and you have all the colors that you need in this palette. It's just an amazing one. And this retails for $49. I think it depends on where you're getting it, but I just went into Urban Decay, their own site, and there it was $49. Honestly, I do not know if this was a limited edition palette, if they are going to discontinue the palette or not. I do not have any information about that. But here we have the dupe for this palette. So I wouldn't say that it is a dupe in that way that it is not trying to look the same. They have not copied the name or anything, but it's clearly the same color scheme in the palette as we had in the Urban Decay one. So this one is purchased from Aliexpress. It's a $12 palette and it's from the brand O.two.O, and they are calling it Darling. So I will say, like, I have done some Aliexpress reviews on makeup here, and some people have been hinting like, oh, are you not going to talk about how harm it can be for you to use Aliexpress makeup? And yes, the thing is that in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, you in the end of the day decide yourself, but Aliexpress is a huge platform. There are a lot of very serious and good companies selling their items there, but there are also a lot of scams. So I wouldn't recommend to buy anything that is saying that they are a brand. For example, if it was like a dupe, they were claiming to be Urban Decay, or other sellers that are just like random sellers selling makeup. But I like to purchase from brands. We have O.two.O, for example. They also have their own website, so you can buy their things from their own website. And I only purchase from O.two.O official site on Aliexpress. So then it is an actual brand that is standing behind the product. So if there is anything wrong with the product or anything, you can always go and contact the brand. So I have other few brands like Fukaler, I don't remember how they pronounce, I Makeup. There are some other brands that are on Aliexpress that are like brands, but they are super affordable. So that is why I will say I have tried O.two.O makeup a lot and I have never had any problem with any of their makeup. So I purchased a lot of things from O.two.O when I did my full face of only Aliexpress makeup video. I will link that one in the description box down below if you want to check that one out. Then I tried this palette and I was very curious because I was like, I remember I said that in that video. I was like, I think this is like a dupe, a color dupe from the Urban Decay Born to Run. I thought it was All Around the World, the name of it, but it's Born to Run. So I actually borrowed the palette from my sister and I have been playing along with it, doing side-by-side swatches, and I am blown away. In this makeup today, I have done one eye with Urban Decay palette and one eye with the O.two.O Darling palette. Can you tell which one is one? Because in my opinion, they look identical. You cannot tell which one is the Urban Decay one and which one is the O.two.O. So take a guess, make a comment down below and take a guess before I'm telling you. Do you think my right eye is Urban Decay or the O.two.O palette? And do you think my left eye is Urban Decay or O.two.O palette? I'm waiting. Type down in the comments. So my friends, my right eye is the Darling palette and my left eye is the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. So here we have them. Can we get focus? Yeah, here we have them. So you can see clearly in the layout and everything, the Urban Decay one is looking a little more, what can I say, like a little more finishing, like the whole layout and everything, it looks a little more expensive. Also, when holding them, the Urban Decay palette is definitely more heavy than the Darling palette, but I mean, that can be a pro and a con. It feels a little more luxurious with the heaviness, but if you're traveling, you want it as light as possible. So that is like straight up the first feeling. Both have a magnetic closure. This one also have a magnetic closure. Both of them has a mirror inside. So I mean, they are very different, but still like they have the same finesses. But when it comes down to the actual product inside, I'm going to show you here side-by-side swatches. I have been swatching the first row. So the first row in the palette, I have done the swatches the same thing. So I have been taking like one circle in the pan with my finger and then dragging 2 stripes on top of each other, and that is what I've been doing for every single swatch. And the upper row is the Urban Decay palette and the lower row is the O.two.O palette. And as you can see here, more or less all the colors are identical. The only color that is not identical is the third color in the pan. That color is a little more golden hint in the O.two.O palette and a little more champagne hint in the Urban Decay palette. But to be honest, I did try that color in the look when I was creating this look today, because I wanted to see if it ended up completely different when you put it on the eye. And to be honest, when you put it on the eyes, they look very similar, like I will say identical. So it's more when you see them side by side swatched like this that you can tell the difference. If we take the second row, you see here, I will say all the colors are identical. I couldn't tell any difference in between the colors. And that you can see the same thing here. The upper row is the Born to Run Urban Decay palette and the second row is the O.two.O Darling palette. So the last row here you have, and what I can say here is the first purpley color is a little bit different, and I can say that it's even better in the Darling palette. So the upper row is the Urban Decay Born to Run palette and the lower row is the O.two.O Darling palette. And as you can see, the purple color is more pigmented in the O.two.O Darling palette than it is in the Born to Run palette, which was very surprising for me because purpley colors is the most difficult. And also the black color, as you see, is a little more intense in the O.two.O palette than from the Urban Decay palette. Except from that, the colors and everything is identical. You could not tell the difference. So what goes for colors, they are, I will say, straight up the same, except from the 3 colors that I mentioned that are like a hint, a little bit of difference. But the thing that is the most surprising to me is that the colors in the Urban Decay palette is a little more dry than the O.two.O palette. So the O.two.O palette, the $12 palette, actually has more creaminess, and I was really feeling that when I was doing the swatches, because then you actually put your finger in the pan and I can really feel like it's much more dry. In more or less all the colors are more dry and a little more like, I would say, patchy in the Urban Decay one than from the O.two.O, and I never ever would have expected that. I never I first of all never thought that the colors were going to be identical in both the palettes, but I never ever in my wildest dreams thought that it was going to be more creamy in the $12 palette. If I was blindfolded, like if they only put the pan up and I was trying all the colors and then was going to guess which color in each palette was from each palette, like if they put the colors side by side and told me to swatch them and try them out and then say like, this is the high end, this is the $12 palette, I think in like 85% of the colors I would have guessed that the palettes from the Darling palette would have been the high-end ones, because they are better. That is like insane. And I mean, I love Urban Decay. That is why I was so surprised, because I love their products, I love their palettes, and I never I never thought that I was going to have this experience. So I can say, my friends, like, not only would I say, like, you can save yourself money to buy the Darling palette if you cannot afford the Urban Decay palette. In this case, I would say I would recommend you to go for the O.two.O palette over the Urban Decay palette, because $49, $12 and better quality. And the same thing with application, they both apply beautifully. When I apply them, I do not feel so much of a difference. I do not feel that the Urban Decay one is a little more dry. That is the feeling I get when I'm swatching them with my finger. But I mean, you can get the same, like you can see here, you can get the same exact look from this palette. So my friends, I will say thumbs up for this palette like 1,000 times. I am so curious to try out more from the O.two.O brand now, because it's really been an eye-opener for me. And I also have a very good experience with their custom service, because before ordering I was in contact with them because I wanted to make sure that they were an okay brand, that they had like, and I got the link to their website, so I really checked out the brand before I ordered from them, because I want to make sure that like everything that is going in the ingredients list and everything is verified, that they are actually like standing behind a brand, that it's not like only a store that has no idea if the ingredients and everything is the same as they are claiming. So they are very serious. I really like them, and they are also vegan. So that is also something that is very good. So my friends, definitely recommend it. It's $12 and I will link it down below. I will also link the Born to Run palette if you are more into the high-end makeup, then maybe you will go for this one. Both of them are beautiful and I love this palette so much. So my friends, I hope that you did like this dupe video. Let me know if you want me to make more dupe videos, because I love to find good affordable dupes, and I love to try out and test if they are good enough or not. I did not have these expectations of this palette, to be honest. I did not think it was going to be this good, and I did not even think that the colors were going to be this identical. So I'm very happy when I am this surprised. So I can recommend you good things. So with that being said, my friends, make sure to give it a thumbs up if you did like this video, and help me to share this video, help me to comment, do anything so I can reach 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours or watch time, so I can be able to monetize this channel. But with that being said, my friends, thank you so much for watching today. I hope I will see you in my next week's video, and have a wonderful weekend. Bye!